Okay, welcome to episode 10. So, guys, this is us coming back. Well, basically, what we're doing is doing a summary of all the episodes that we've done in this first season. And we're just going to do a review, remind you of some of the ones, maybe some that you've missed, and just reflect on some of the whole season in a total, really. So, we listened to a lot of tough stories, a lot of real life stories over the last 9 episodes, and this being the 10th, obviously. And I think we've all taken a little bit something from that if you've listened to them all. We've realised that a lot of people have gone through a lot of tough times in their life. Okay, so it's possibly not just you. A lot of people have gone through a lot. Also, yeah, I think going forward, we're looking at season 2, and we're looking at probably we won't be telling so many stories next time round. But what we will be doing is taking the bits that we learned from season 1, and then getting possibly professionals on who are, experienced in certain things like meditation, sleep, training, and all those things that those people use to better their lives. And that's something that we were looking forward to doing in season 2 for sure. So I'll bring you on to Danny now, and Danny can tell you a little bit of what we, obviously shout out to some of the training facilities, and then we'll go into the actual review.
Yeah, so I think for you guys that have listened to all of our episodes, and this has obviously been the final episode of season 1, but if we go back through the episodes and talking to a lot of our guests, they found that exercise was a really big part or a really big coping mechanism with some of their mental health struggles. So I just wanted to do this today. And a lot of these guys aren't aware, but I just wanted to give a shout out to all the local gyms in the area, in our area, in our local area. And they are CrossFit Iron Duke, who are based in Waterlooville, CrossFit Fareham, who are based in Fareham, the Box Portsmouth, based down in the city of Portsmouth, Gym 01, who are based down just in the outskirts of Fratton, and the Jack Plummer Gym / Fratton Gym, that's also based down near Fratton Park. So the reason why I wanted to give those guys a shout out was that exercise is important, and these local gyms are really important to not only your exercise but also your community as well. So these guys may not always be around, and without support from normal everyday people, these gyms may not always be there. So please, once we're out of lockdown, I urge to go and check out some of these gyms.
And Southern Legion as well. Don't forget Southern.
Oh yes, Southern Legion, the gym that we go to. But check out some of these gyms, and honestly, it's going to change the way that you guys think about training and think about staying fit.
I think of these small independent gyms, like you say, Danny, I know you'll hear a lot of them saying about their community, but there truly is a bond within that. And you might not feel like that's what you need in your training at the moment. And I certainly used to be that person who used to stick my headphones on. I went to the same gym, Fitness First, for 3 years, didn't know anyone in there, just like a little nod here and there, carry on, headphones on, blaring away. I was quite happy with that. I knew what I was doing, so forth. Yeah, 21s, bench, get off my bench, and stuff like that. But then I think definitely for me, and the people we've spoken to, having that community, having that people to train with and go through the suffer, the pain, and the motivation. They give you the motivation because you know they're going to be there. You don't want to let them down, so you go. So you end up training more sensibly as well. And I think it's just that I found that it definitely helped me mentally more than physically, because I knew what I was doing training-wise. I can train, I can go out and get myself fit, but having that interaction with other people like what we've missed in the lockdown itself. A lot of people you speak to have missed interacting with people,
Yeah,
just being
definitely.
stuck in their house. And I think this is something that you definitely get from those small independent gyms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I think if there's a positive when it comes to fitness, I mean, we're very passionate about it. You are, I am very passionate about fitness and keeping people fit. And if there's a positive that's come out of this lockdown, is that a lot of people are maybe learning different ways to keep fit, which is fantastic. Doing stuff at home, getting out running, people on bikes, even just going for a walk. A lot of people, wouldn't normally have time to do that sort of stuff, and now they have, which is great. I just think that being in a gym, certainly this type of gym environment, it just gives you that next little kick. It's just that we can all train on our own, but there's just something about training with groups of people, and like you said, Ray, suffering together, finishing afterwards, going for a beer after, whatever you want to do after. It's just it's a different way of training, and I just wanted to shout out those guys really,
Well,
just because
even if you're interested in just running, why don't you check out the running groups? I know Portsmouth Joggers is another we've had a few of them at the gym.
Yeah.
They got a really good bond there. And that's definitely like having someone to run with, having someone to go through, like we said, the pain pain together. You just share that. You share it, don't you? And then also you force each other to work a little bit harder than you would if you was on your own.
Yeah, especially if you've got that competitive edge.
Yeah. But good. So it's a good shout out there. I think that was definitely, like you say, all these businesses that we've shouted out, like we did say, we were mentioning the sponsor, but they haven't paid us anything. We've just shouted them out because we know they're a local company and we know they're good service, and we really want to see them come out of the lockdown strong, and then obviously continue to go that way, because I know what it's like to run a small business, and I certainly know what that they are a good business to follow and support. So we hope they do all continue to thrive coming out of lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. So going back we're going to review our guests. Obviously our first guest was Corporal Stu Pearson. We called the episode The Bang, and it was a bang, wasn't it? The first episode. The stories that one thing with Stu, and you guys listen to this, and if you do go back listen to it, is he was everything was just so just
blasé, was it?
Yeah, it was just this happened. And,
my leg got blown off. Like
I stepped on a mine and my leg blew off, and next minute I woke up, and it's just, and I think it was, the stories were amazing, and you're probably going to hear me say this a lot over this episode actually about the sort of stories, but it was listening to how he was just sort of just like you say, so blasé about it, and also just some of the things, he decided to try. Obviously he's only got the one leg, and the other leg was in very good shape, and he thought, I'm going to try skiing, and then he broke his shoulder. So he said, I'm going to go and try that, but comes out breaking his shoulder. So amazing guy.
And if like I know Stu, so none of that, the way he is, relaxed, laid back, blasé, that is him. That is what I've always known. Like, he's never changed. And he's had so many accidents, so many things that just gone wrong for him. Yeah. But he still tries. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I believe he's happy, because he's always trying new stuff, and always, he's never really like down on the dumps about, this is not working. He just goes, I'll try something else. That didn't work.
And he did something that really resonated with me from that episode. What was, he just said, the past is the past. I can't change it. And there's nothing I can change with what happened. Why would I sit and carry on thinking about it? And that really, really resonated with me. And really, I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting him one day. So
he said he's going to come down, didn't he? Yeah. So we'll, once it's all cleared, we'll get him down for a beer.
Yeah.
That was a good episode. A good one to start off with. Like me and Dad, this is the first time me and Danny done anything like this before. So we're learning on the cuff. Hence why, like, I started off with all the gear. If anyone's watched it on YouTube, I had a massive headphones, mixer, and none of that worked properly. And I'm down
Yeah.
to what Danny started off with, and I should have probably just stuck with the simple headphones. But
You came in like eyeball Paul, didn't you? When you
yeah,
first
eyeball
started,
Paul.
and then you finished like Perry.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
For all you Kevin and Perry fans out there.
It's
So
'cause I bought all the gear. I bought all the gear ages ago, and I thought, oh, I'll give it a try. Might as well use it. And obviously,
yeah,
it didn't work. All the gear, no idea. And then just got the normal headphones, and they seem to work just as good or better.
the ones that come free in the Apple box.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant. Okay, so yeah, we went on to what we would know as episode 3 because we did the intro. So that was Stromer. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. What an incredible lady.
Blew me away. Honestly, I knew parts of the story, obviously, because she came to our gym, and you know, so I knew parts of the story, and and I thought I knew most of it, but just to listen to her tell her side of it, and the strength, I couldn't believe, I couldn't believe the strength that. And I think a lot of that's from what we didn't mention, and she did mention a bit of the support she gets from her family, from her brothers and from her husband, Paddy. That she's been very lucky that way. But her mental strength was just
second to none.
Yeah, just like what she called it, headstrong, didn't she?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, just like she is headstrong.
Yeah, and I don't know if people that have listened to it, listened to the episode, may not have caught on, but Stromer has still got the disease. Stromer has still got cancer and is still going through that, and then that's going to be a long-term process. And to be as positive as she is and look to the future, and that was one thing again that I took from that episode was her positivity.
Yeah.
She's got 2 young kids, 2 young children, and it was important for her that was her reason why, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was her why, and it's such a strong why to have.
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously what's helping her recover so well. I think.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't really. She did mention it, but we didn't mention, but we should now is like for those people that check yourself. Not just women like Stromer. She had breast cancer, but for guys as well. I know you're used to checking it, but not checking it properly. But make sure.
Not in that short amount of time.
But on a serious note, it is, because the sooner you find it, and if you do find something, see your GP. Do you know what I mean? How embarrassing it is, it doesn't matter. Like, your GPs seem a lot worse. And trust me, they see a lot. Bless them.
I think that's one thing that Stromer done, wasn't it? Was she got the she was brave enough to go straight away and get this looked at and get it seen to, and that was probably a really big part in how she recovered from that part of the disease because of the way that it was so quick. And again, hats off to the guys in the NHS for dealing with that. An amazing story of getting the diagnosis.
It's quite emotional, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really, 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 really hard to listen to, but also inspiring at the same time.
Definitely.
And one thing to finish up was the relief and that Stromer felt after she spoke about it, because this was the first time that she'd put that into the public domain.
Yes, perfectly put, Dan. I mean, that was one thing. That was the whole purpose of doing this season, was we knew that people were in a lockdown and they were obviously going through certain things and mental health issues, are heightened in a lockdown situation or anything like this.
Yeah.
And we were saying that we did each episode, if we can help one person per episode, then we've achieved our aim. And that's all. We weren't looking for likes or how many views. It was just to help one person. And as soon as we did the episode with Stroma, she said she felt liberated, didn't she?
That's the
she
word,
she got the story out in the open and just spoke about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke after we recorded and said, we've already helped one person just with that. So we were just, that was it, wasn't it? And a lot of these episodes that we've gone through, the person has said to us, who's told their story, how much it's helped them.
Yeah.
So we really feel like we've achieved our aim with this season.
Definitely. In episode 4, we had Creed himself,
Come on, Creed.
Mark Coombs, the Campino Kid. You have to go and listen to the reason why he was called the Campino Kid, and actually, Mark's story, I genuinely believe that, and it's certainly me, and I know you've told me behind the camera that you have been quite inspired by some of the things that Mark said about his training.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, definitely.
And that's. Go on. I'll let you.
I quite like. Well, Mark's mindset. He's very mentally strong when it comes to training. Probably, I think sometimes maybe that is a bit of a downfall. I think he could potentially. The only worry about him is getting injured because he will just keep going through the pain threshold. And I've seen a lot of boxers do this. They go through it, and you can get away with it when you're young because But as you get older, I know things catch up with you. But his mental strength, like he will run him for. It was like over a year, wasn't it? He was planning to run for 365 days, but he ended up going. I can't remember what it was now.
I think it was 390 or something like that in the end.
Yeah, it was over a year, and I think the only reason when I chatted to him, the only reason he did stop was because his knee started playing up. So he nearly injured himself doing that. But he is inspiring. I think he will push, and he will push the boundaries of his fitness.
Yeah,
I think that's why he is that fit. He's willing to go that extra mile than someone else.
We've trained with Mark, and I tell you one thing, I've coached Mark and I've obviously been around people whilst coaching Mark, and one thing that he does is he gets everybody else's competitive edge going. And I don't know if he does it on purpose, but I think one thing is he makes people better because he's so focused. When he walks into the gym, he's very focused, and he's very focused on his training. That's probably been drummed into him from an early age from the boxing.
Yeah.
About being focused and making sure that training is key. But I think what he does is he brings everybody else up with him. And I think that's a really good trait to have.
Yeah. Yeah, he's competitive, but it's not so competitive that he's trying to push people down. He's trying to force them up with him at his level, which is brilliant. Like you say, you see it in a class and he pushes people along with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's good. What really surprised me is how he switched focus. So he was a professional boxer doing a job he loved, and then he realised it was time that to knock on the head. I thought he'd probably maybe have a couple of years struggling, which when I left the army, I struggled for 2 years. He didn't. He just switched focus, new challenge, and that's what he does. That's why he inspires me, because he will find another challenge. Do you know what I mean? When that one challenge is up, he doesn't think, "Oh, that's enough. I'm done." I've completed whatever it was, a year of running. Oh, I'm done now. I can just relax.
Doesn't rest.
What's next?
Yeah.
And I think, that's why he never seems down. He's always got a focus. He's got something to aim for.
Yeah, I think that was one thing that we mentioned on the podcast actually, was that he always needs to have a goal.
Yeah.
I personally think setting goals, I do it with my work. I set goals for that individual day. Obviously, if you're in a role where you're targeted, that's a goal that you need to get to. And for some people, that's a really good way to get things done, is by writing down what your goals are. You mentioned it with some of the training you're doing at the moment with your kettlebells. You've put it onto paper. So if you don't complete it, you'll see it. It'll be on there all the time. And you'll know that you need to get it done. So if there's something that come out of Mark's podcast, is not only obviously his mental strength, but also goal setting is a really, really good way to get things done. Even if you I think there's something, things like couch to 5K, things like that, where you give yourself a really good goal. I'm obviously talking from a fitness and exercise and movement perspective, but there's lots of other ways.
Lots of other ways you can do it. Like you can study, couldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, studying, learning, education. Yeah.
Learning, music. But there's lots of things you can take from that episode, and that's really, like I say, it inspired me.
Yeah.
So going on to episode 5, we had Lana on.
Yeah.
Now, I knew some of the background from Lana. I know Lana; she's a close friend. But again, it was listening to her. I found it quite hard. I know she didn't really go into detail of a lot of the stuff that has really gone on in her life, and that's understandable because she has been through so much. But if you ever met Lana, you wouldn't even know that half of that went on, because she's just such a happy. I know she obviously found love now, but I mean, she never, she never has a bad word to say against anyone. Never has a bad word to say. Really, she's just so positive, so just such a nice person. Really, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
And I think it would. That certain people who listen to that would have been shocked. Definitely.
It's an episode where you feel lots of different emotions listening to it, and it is probably the same, obviously, for her to speak about it. You sort of get angry, and then you get emotional, and then you get angry again. And that was a roller coaster podcast where, again, I said it at the start, I'm going to say it a lot, an incredible person and bravery for her to come on and share those things and put them into the public domain, because it's not hard to talk about things like, domestic abuse. It's difficult for those things to come out. It's, she mentioned about her, obviously her mum passing away, and how hard that was as a child growing up, not having that ability to go and tell her mum these great things, and that was, again, it was really emotional.
I'll tell you what got me was when she said she was on holiday and she bought her a present. And that's like, do you know what I mean? That really like that she must have pushed it so far back that she didn't forgotten. That it's happened.
Forgotten that it happened.
Not have forgotten, but just black
in that moment.
In that moment.
Yeah. And again, if no one's listened to Lana's story, please go back, because I think there's, again, a lot of positives that come out of Lana's story. And I don't want people to think that our episodes are all going to be just about negativity. It's not. And I think what we're finding with all of our episodes is that people go through tough times, but what they're actually teaching us and talking to people, you get a great education anyway, just by listening to people. But I think what it's actually teaching us is that actually there are ways to get out of certain situations. And, some of that is down to how you react yourself. And Lana is a really prime example of that. She went back to study.
Yeah.
And she became a nurse. She now works with cancer patients, and she's very highly regarded in her job, and does an amazing job for lots of other people now. And we said it on the episode that you said at the start when we introed Lana just then, that she's such a happy person. And if you listen to her story, you wouldn't forgive her for not being that way.
No.
Because of what she's gone through, but she hasn't. She's just moved on. She's educated herself. She's gone to do something that she loves doing, and I think she should be extremely proud. And I think I'm certainly proud to call her a friend. And that's like you said there. So thank you to Lana for coming on and sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. So, episode 6, then we have Ryan on.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
Ryan give us a little brief. Whenever someone messages us, give us a little brief of what's happened in their life. They just give us a little. Well, he just said, I had a little. He said a bit of abuse when I was young. He obviously had post-traumatic stress. And he just said about him being a medic and blah, blah, blah. I just thought maybe he had a bit of, I don't know, people maybe not so kind to him when he was young. And then he probably got the post-traumatic stress from being a medic in combat and stuff like that. That's, I assumed. We don't go too much into detail because we want to be almost as fresh to the story as the listener.
Yeah.
And then obviously Ryan come out with a bang, didn't he, with his story about being sexually abused at a young age. And we were as shocked as anyone else who were listening at that. And for him to be so brave and come out and say that, not only to us, but obviously knowing that it's going to go, onto the internet, then, I mean, go on, Dan, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was again, I mean, I've met Ryan a handful of times, and talking to him and listening to his story was a real, like you said there, it hit you quite hard, because you almost weren't expecting it, because he was so open in his conversation. And he's so open, and I think this is a great thing for him now. In a lot of his sort of recovery, if you like, is being a little bit open, and for him to come and say those things. And he's still going through quite a lot at the moment. And for you guys that have listened to the episode, you'll know that Ryan's still going through a lot of these demons, and he's dealing with these things day to day still. Quite upfront. So for him to come on, still going through this daily, was again extremely brave for him to do so and to share his story. And he knew that was the first time that a lot of people he'd shared this, because he'd only shared it with his dad and his wife, and they're the only two people that were aware of what had happened. And he wanted to come on and tell us, because he was hoping that if there's someone out there that might have maybe gone through similar things, that they would then open up and talk about it as well, because that's helped him.
That was his biggest, I've got it in my notes here, that was his biggest thing. It was to talk about it. We mentioned it in another episode, some people are ready to talk and some aren't. But he was ready to talk and open up. He just needed people to listen. But yeah,
he was again, the episode was a really powerful one, because he was one step away from ending his life, because of the things that he had gone through. And this isn't about me, and it's not about you, it's about them, but I've never actually spoken to anyone that said anything like that before. And that was a really, that made me realise how important these conversations are for him to say something like that. And again, we've said it before, if we can help one person, and these conversations can help, because we're just normal people, we're not professionals, we're not interviewing people on a professional level. We're just normal people having a conversation and allowing people to tell their story and listening. And it's it was just extremely powerful for him to come out and speak like that. And I just hope that anyone that is listening or has listened to his story do open up somewhere and talk privately or professionally, because it certainly has and is working for Ryan at the moment.
Yeah, he said it's powerful. He said that's what he said. One of that being able to talk and just get it off his chest, because he buried it for so many years. For so many years that it actually, he didn't even realise it was that was taking over his life, over his emotions and everything. So yeah, that was another tough one to do.
Yeah. So next we had Matt.
Yeah.
Matt on the show, and a lot of people will know that me and Matt are quite close. We talk probably at least every other day, and we actually asked Matt to come on the show because I knew that Matt had a really important story around when he was young, and he wanted to be a Marine, and that was his dream job, and he literally was just nothing else mattered. That was what Matt was going to do, until unfortunately he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is extremely late, because I think he said he was 15.
Yeah. Type 1, yeah.
Type 1, yeah. So it was extremely late for him, and unfortunately that meant he wasn't able to basically fulfill his dream of joining the services. So that was, again, a really important episode, because not only was it a mindset thing where he was like, well, I'm ready to go and do these things, because I think we said it in the episode, not a lot of people at 15 know where they want to be.
No.
And he did. And that, through no fault of his own, was taken away. And I think a lot of people, with not a stronger headspace, may have gone off the rails at that point.
Yeah.
And been a completely different person. But anyone that knows Matt, he's probably one of the nicest guys that I know.
Do anything for anyone, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, his story was important because I think, obviously, firstly, the type 1, that then led to the failing of his kidneys, which is, again, it's no fault of his own. It's not something that he's not, and he said it himself, like, you see lots of people out there and they're drinking and they're doing things they shouldn't be, and they're basically abusing their bodies. He was a guy that went to the gym. He'd look after himself. He worked, as much as he could, but this was his route, and he couldn't get off it. There's no way that he could help himself get off that route. And that must be quite a hard feeling to know that, what you've tried to do these things, and there's people out there that are not doing that. So I'll go into another part in a minute, but he obviously had the transplant, and he mentioned a really important part, and it was, I think it was after he had the operation, wasn't it, about the nurse that helped him and gave him 24 hours?
Yes. So was that to find out whether he was the primary donor?
So that was before, wasn't it? So that was
So I don't think
so that was so basically
that was before. No, but I know what you're saying now.
Yeah, the nurse that sort of said to that had an argument with the doctor.
Had the argument with the doctor. Yeah, because they were going to take the kid, they were going to take it back out again.
Yeah, and put him onto dialysis.
That's right. Yeah,
Probably changed his life a lot. Yeah. So that was a really important, that one night, that one day, that one individual actually
Yeah.
could have probably put him on a completely different path in life right now.
Mm.
So yeah, really, again, for you guys that haven't listened, please go back and have a listen to Matt's story. The episode is called Lifesaver, and you'll see the reasons why it's called that.
Yeah.
But that episode, and I don't know if it came out on video, but I I actually had a few tears running down my eyes at the end of the episode, and that was to do with his family now.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing come out of it. So all Matt went through, and then now he's on that. We know him now, to have a lovely family. You got, a beautiful girlfriend. You got a beautiful son who's just crazy little man, isn't he?
Yeah,
amazing. He's Superman, I tell you. Some of the stuff he does, pull ups and toes to bar and stuff like that. He's crazy. But yeah, like his family life now is just amazing, and you feel happy for him, don't you?
Yeah.
So that what like I say, what he went through, and now to see him on this other side where, he's rich basically. He's rich with life.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is absolutely. Yeah, I think that's actually a really good way to put it. Is he is literally that. His family are the world, like they are to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You can really see it, and
yeah, definitely.
Really, really close to Matt. So really proud of Matt for coming on, and again, really proud to call him one of my best friends.
Good. That then took you on to another one of your friends.
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dave's story was a lot to do with mental health, anxiety mainly, wasn't it, and panic attacks that had been brought on through stress through business, really.
Yeah.
Through success, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was extremely successful.
Mm-hmm.
But it was his passion for work and drive that actually was his downfall in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, he. If any, again, I know Dave really well, and if there's anyone, he just works. He's just a worker. He's a grafter. He's just one of those. He's just one of those people that he always wants to keep better in himself and his family, and even actually his friends around him. He's one of those people that he brings people up around him. He's not about beating people down. He'd rather be out there helping other businesses and people and things like that. So what actually, one thing that triggered it was a scenario when he opened his first business, which is a salon with his girlfriend Rachel, and how their partner or business partner at the time actually done the dirty, really, in a business sense, and left them with left them in a place they didn't want to be from a business perspective, and that really, I think, hit both of them hard. And he did mention about the fact that they both went through stress and anxiety together, which must have been really difficult.
It was difficult, but it was also good because they both knew how the other one was feeling.
Yeah, they understood. Yeah,
they understood how they were both feeling. So, like, you do get a lot of relationships where one of the person's going through something like this, and the other person's not, and they don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it is hard to understand.
Yeah,
especially if it's never happened to you. Like Dave said before, he normally would laugh, like not laugh at people, but he'd think, "Oh, just get on with it."
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He said it a couple of times, didn't he?
Yeah.
He goes, and he was, when it actually happened to him, he realised how it affects everything you do in life.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he did. He mentioned about the fact that it was are very much oh yeah, okay, yeah, let's get on with it, like the old stereotypical
Yeah,
way
exactly.
being
Yeah.
around it, which for a bloke is actually it's not uncommon. You
No,
know,
no,
I've got friends, and you've probably got friends, and friends groups that it isn't uncommon. And I think it's only really been the last sort of few years where I think guys have really started to open up
I think
about that type of thing.
I think this is why you see suicide rates so high in men.
Mm.
Only my personal opinion. I don't, the men don't talk. Basically, they won't go
No.
and talk to their mate and say, "Oh, this has happened. I don't feel very well. I'm having panic attacks." Basically, we just go. Blokes just meet up and take the piss out of each other,
Mm.
which is
Yeah.
good. That's a good therapy as well. But also there is time where you probably do need to open up and have someone that
Yeah.
you can open up to,
Yeah.
or you feel confident to.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we're going to touch on it in the next with Emily in a moment. And
Yeah.
it was something around how when you are around your friends, sometimes you do put on a bit of an act,
Mm.
but you never see them. You sort of see this live, bubbly person, and that almost stops you from asking if everything's okay. Because when you do see him, like you say, you meet up, go down the pub, you take the piss out of each other. Oh yeah, it's good old Dave.
Yeah.
He's the one that takes, quite
I
happy.
think that's even what Dave said, didn't he? When he mentioned it to some of the people, some of the not interviews, was there? Some business meetings he went to where he was literally just sweating and panicking through the whole meeting.
Yeah.
You speak to people years later down the line, and they didn't even
Mm.
notice because he
No,
put on such a
no.
good front.
Yeah. And same with friends. You mentioned as well about friends and
Mm.
it open up. And obviously, when you're younger, you don't. And then as you get older and you open up and you say, oh yeah, I remember that moment when you done this, this, and this. And they'd come back and say, well, yeah, that's because I was going through this at the time, but obviously I didn't show it. And it's not
Yeah,
until you realise, you go, oh bloody hell, like, you get once one person, it's like a domino effect. If one person's
yeah,
happy to say something,
that's
everyone else
right.
goes, oh,
Yeah, yeah,
let's all start talking, and that's how it works, I guess.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, no, really, really, really important story for Dave.
I was quite interested in the way Dave said that the mindfulness was something that really helped him, and is continue to help him.
Mm.
So meditation and stuff like that. And that is something that we're looking into for season 2.
Yeah,
The methods of helping people.
yeah,
So not so much the stories anymore, because we sort of feel that we've covered a good base now. And like we say, we don't want it to be too downbeat, which is we don't feel that this season is. But it may be if you've not listened to all the episodes all the way through, then you might get that feeling. But on season 2, we are looking at showing methods, speaking to people that are experienced in these, in meditation, in sleep, and all those other fields, nutrition,
yeah,
to help to then give you more knowledge to take this forward now.
yeah, definitely.
In your recovery. So yeah, taking us on to episode 9,
Yeah,
we spoke to Emily.
yeah,
Now that's another
yeah. The very
emotional roller coaster,
emotional.
wasn't
Yeah,
it? That one was
yeah,
quite a hard one to
yeah,
sit and listen to. But again, it had lots of good points in there that people can
yeah.
take out. I feel anyway.
Yeah, I think Emily again was extremely brave, and Emily is still obviously again going through a lot of treatment and therapy. And she actually mentioned that this was the first time that she'd spoken publicly about the about what's happened to her outside of a therapy room or a clinic. Um, and again, her reasoning to us was to make sure that if there's anybody else that are struggling with these things, that they do go in and seek help. And she's had bulimia, and that was a big part of her growing up, and obviously the mental abuse as a child as well. Was again, it wasn't until she sort of got older that was something that's basically been with her throughout all of her adult life. But again, if you met Emily, and we've met Emily, and we've trained with Emily. She's very, you wouldn't know some of these things, and this is why we go on to the part I mentioned previously about the acting and
Yeah.
the being comfortable. So Emily quite openly says that she doesn't always get comfortable in social situations, but she will try and be almost like a chameleon to become part of what's happening at that
What she
time.
thinks is normal,
Yeah.
or what it should,
Um,
what everyone else is, how everyone else is acting, basically.
yeah, that's what she would then
Yeah.
copy. So it's
Yeah.
almost, yeah. So that was something that really, again, and she's learning it now, and she's sort of got some really good tools in her toolbox that help her deal with those types of things. But yeah, Emily's story touched quite a lot of different points. And again, we went back to, you get angry and then you get emotional. And there were some tears in Emily's episode because it was an emotional story.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
really, really powerful.
we touched on it, didn't we? That in the episode that she was still finding it hard to talk about. Like Ryan, where he was open, he found it a lot more easier to talk.
Yeah,
Did he? A lot of people did, and she was still at a very early stage of the talking process, I think.
yes, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and she's going to take a bit more time.
Yeah,
But
she's got the support
but she's
with,
got the support there. That's what, like, her
yeah,
boyfriend there, Harry. He's like 100% there, isn't he?
yeah,
Supporting her the whole way, which is so good to see. It's important that you know, like, she's had a lot of bad relationships through not being able to know how people should be treating her. Really,
yeah.
yeah,
She mentioned like she was attracted to or was drawn to the very similar people. So because of the way she obviously got brought up, she
yeah.
was she very much was like, well, that's the type of person I should be around, and not necessarily not the
Or
best
thought
person
that
to
was
be.
the normal,
Yeah.
the norm,
And
controlling.
yeah, a really, again, incredible lady who's gone through a lot, and none of it has been through her own doing. It's again, like everybody, it's just been, she, the way that she was brought up has really been a catalyst to some of the problems that she went through in her adult life. And for her to now, she's really facing them head on. And I think she has to be, applauded for going, no, I need to deal with this. And one of the stages for that was for her to come on.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that was, amazing for her to do that and share her story. And hopefully, again, she mentioned it a couple of times, if there's people out there that need this type of help, let's, get out there and try and seek it if you're, and when you're ready.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think she was very brave, and I think, like we said then, I think that episode actually helped her, as well as is going to continue to help other people listeners as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, another great story, really, and another great episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And then
that go on, Danny. Sorry.
I was going to say, and I was probably just about to say the same thing as you, and just to say that was our guest for
Yeah,
season one.
yeah, basically.
And now we're on, in our episode. This is episode 10. This is going to
Yeah,
be our final episode, as you mentioned at the outset. And um, what an amazing, what an amazing season. When we first started this, we
yeah,
both said, we weren't sure how it was going to go. We certainly weren't sure how it was going to be received.
mm.
And it's just been phenomenal. The guests have been, the guests have just been incredible. And
Yeah. Honestly, I've really enjoyed it.
yeah,
It's been really good. It's been tough. Don't get me wrong. It's been tough listening to people's stories, but to feel that we definitely help each one of those individuals just by letting them tell their story.
yeah,
So that felt good. And then the response we were getting from emails, Instagram messages, and Facebook messages and stuff,
yeah,
saying how it was helping certain people, was just, like you said, phenomenal. So yeah, hopefully it still gets spread out there. Still, people are liking and sharing and all the good stuff,
Yeah,
so that it gets out to more people, really. And
that's it. Yeah,
more people it helps, the better. That's the
that's
whole
it.
purpose of it. We don't make any money out of this. We're just doing this as, just basically to help people, really.
That's it. Yeah, that's all it is. It's
Yeah,
literally just hopefully, the more people that can share it and get it out there, it is just about more people listening to it, and more people listening to it, more people take action in some of the things that they might be hearing, because they might be going through some similar things.
yeah,
So we urge people to share it with their own networks of friends, and if they feel that um, it might benefit, again, tell people about it, because ultimately that's what we're here for.
yeah,
We're just here to try and help, and to try and that will be not only from from people opening up, that's helped, but in season 2 we've obviously already discussed this, that we're going to go into a more of an education type season, where, like you mentioned, meditation, sleep, nutrition, some training pieces in there, that we
yeah,
feel that again, this is how it can help people that are maybe struggling with certain situations. These types of things and these tools, we're going to hear how those tools are used by the professionals that show how they can be used.
yeah,
And again, we've listened to experiences I mean, that's a really good thing about it, actually, is that we're going to hear some, obviously the professionals talk about some of these tools, but we've actually heard how these tools are working as well
yeah.
already. But it's now about teaching people how to use them.
Yeah,
Um,
that's exactly it. Yeah,
so
that's what we're looking forward to doing
yeah,
in the next season. Like you say, Dan, we've spoke to people that have gone through it. Like Danny's mentioned earlier, that we're not experts. We're not experts in the field. We're not psychiatrists or anything like that. We just, we've had tough lives as well, but and we've used different methods. So we'll probably share some of our methods that we use. But obviously, again, we're going to speak to listening to all those stories and what those guys did to help them move on in life. We've now taken note, and then we're going to seek people that are, the experts in those fields
mm-hmm.
to hopefully share you the methods, to help you further,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's probably a good point to sort of say. If anybody, I mean, we have some contacts and some people that we are going to be talking to and asking if they can come on, and we've already set a few of those things up. But if anybody knows or feels there's anybody out there that would like to come on and be a guest in a professional field that feels that might be beneficial to people, then please get in touch, either personally or on our. You can message us on our Instagram page, which is the Legion Report Podcast, and we can make the necessary contact and get those guys in. So
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. That's what I was just about to say. So you hit it now on the head there, Dan. So if there is anyone out there that has definitely either helped people in the past, or if they've heard the episodes and know about the certain things like training, meditation, sleep, um, any of those kind of fields that helps with anxiety, post traumatic stress, anything really. If you come to us, and it's not what we're looking for, we'll let you know. You know what I mean? But yeah, the more the merrier. We're making season 2 really like that educational season, really, and
yeah,
how people give them the tools then to go ahead and make the change.
yeah, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Right, so we'll call it. We'll end the episode now. Thank you, Danny, for doing this with me, mate. I really appreciate
No,
it.
thank you.
It's been
It's
good,
been
isn't
good.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, what an experience. Yeah,
definitely.
amazing. For you guys that don't know, we can find our podcast on Apple and Spotify, and also our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, brilliant, guys. Thank you for listening. If you haven't listened to, some of those episodes sparked off something, you can still find all those episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, like Danny said, and then on the YouTube channel. So go back, revisit them, if there's something you missed or you haven't listened to one, they're definitely worth listening to again. So, yeah, hope you enjoy and look forward to season 2.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.